Good morning. Welcome back out in the shop. It's Sunday morning and we're getting ready to cut and tack on the upright supports of the gantry crane. So the uprights, you know, of course, they're going to be about 8 feet tall, more or less, give or take, minus the height of the casters and the height of this, and any clearance that I want to put in the top. We'll probably put 1 inch of clearance throughout the shop, so I'll probably measure in a couple places. It's a concrete floor, and most concrete floors aren't flat, so we'll definitely take a couple measurements because I don't want to hit stuff. We've decided that we'll dodge those lights that we're talking about. So the lowest thing in here that I can see, or it might be the air line, the air pipe that's on the top that I have running down the shop, or these lights here. So we'll measure a couple places there just to, you know, find the lowest spot, I should say, or the shortest spot, and then we'll take off 1 inch from there. I went ahead and drilled on the drill press the holes, and then I tapped them, and I get some grief over using the driver drill and this tap holder, but that's what it's made to do. It's a quarter inch apex tap holder. And then of course one of my little sticks that I get from Tennessee, but you can get these on Amazon. Fastenal has them. I'm trying to think of what else has them. I think these came from back in the day. Where I work at, we used to have a tool truck that came by, and these came from the S&K tool guy. So they don't come around anymore, but you can get these anywhere. I bought a few from Amazon. I picked up a couple at some flea markets and some auctions, but they're great to have. You can do that with this. If you have any old school unibits, you can put, I'm trying to see if I got any over there. I got all the new ones with the hex bits on them. But you can put anything in there. You can put a 1/4 inch drill bit in there if you want to. They're either drill or drill and tap holders. So it has 2 set screws on it. The only thing I recommend is that you Loctite those set screws in. So I use red, and I've been able to get them back out. If you never want it to ever come back out again, put green in there and you'll never have a problem. Blue, I don't know if it heats up and wants to back out, but I don't have good luck with blue, so I always use red. And then, you know, the tap holder, and it just makes quick, easy work of tapping out those holes. If I had a mill, I probably would have done it all over there, but since I did it, and I know these work, and I really don't worry about it. If I break one, I break one. It's not that big a loss. I think I broke one the past year, and that's just me being stupid, and got it on an angle. I mean, it happens, or tapping too thick of metal. So for this 1/4 inch, I have no qualms with using one like that. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get to cutting the uprights and measuring them. So we're just going to keep on with the narrating part. I kind of like it. I can get work done a little quicker than having to narrate as I go and reset the camera up. So that's what we're going to do. So let's get this thing built, tacked together at least. We'll get this part done, and then I'll wait for Mike to weld it, and then we'll put the I-beam across it and we'll weld it all together. Make sure these are good and straight and square, and then with help, I'll get the S-beam put on there, and we'll do that part. So see you in a little bit. So we broke out the Fireball Tools Mega Squares that I bought at FabTech last year, and these work great for squaring up the anything, really. I kind of wish I'd have brought the bigger ones when you have something big like this to do. So these are the cast iron versions, and you just mount the tabs on it, and that puts your plane, that'll line up your planes. But with the tabs on this side, it's hard to get the clamps, or the clamps that I have inside, to clamp everything. But, you know, just break out more clamps and line everything up, and it worked great. So I put 1 mega square on each side of the long post. Probably didn't need it, but, you know, the support doesn't matter, so I just used them. I would highly recommend these squares. Jason does a good job getting these put together. And then take a tape measure, and we just check for square. So I just, you know, hooked the tape at the top end of it and pulled it down to the corner and took that measurement and then repeated it on the other side, and it worked fine. Everything was dead nuts perfect. And then I had some of the upper supports that hold the I-beam on, and I used the new Walter Enduro blades, or they're not new, they're new to me, and they work great. They're probably my new favorite grinding disc now. So once we get everything ground and ready to go, or all the burrs knocked off, it's time for Mike to get here, and we'll weld this sucker up. All right, welcome back out to the shop. It's a chilly Saturday morning.
Yes.
In North Carolina. So we lit a fire. We've got it heated up to about 60. I think that's about as hot as I want to get it anyway. And we're here. We're finally going to weld up the gantry crane. So it'll be done today. I got my CWI certified welder to make sure this thing doesn't fall apart.
Try to hold it together.
So I think we're going to tack it together with MIG.
Yes, tack it
and then finish it with 7018.
7018.
Burn them in hot.
Run it.
All right, so that's what we're going to do. And by the end of the day, or a couple hours, we'll have this thing up and rolling around, and then a little trip to the old Harbor Freight store and chain fall. And then we can get those big parts back on the lathe. And then that'll be another project done. So let us get some safety gear on, and we'll be back. See ya. All right, so while I finished cutting up some metal, Mike went ahead and started tacking. He started, with the Hobart Handler 175, I believe is what I have. And he was going to switch over to 7018s, but we thought we had some 3/32 7018s, but all we had was some 1/8 inch, and they were a little hot for that. So we decided after he run a couple rods, or maybe he only got through one rod, we just decided to MIG it the whole way, and which worked out fine. But I'll quit talking and we'll let Mike do his thing. I thought the 7018s looked fine, but my brother's a perfectionist when it comes to welding like this. And, I trust his judgment. So, when he decided to switch to MIG, I have no problem switching. And it worked out very well either way. So, and less smoke in the shop, too. It was cold outside, so not having to run the vent fan was a plus. So this is the point he decided to go ahead and switch to MIG, and that old Hobart, I've had it for years. I mean, we were talking about it, and I've lived here for 25 years, and it was one of the first purchases I bought. So it's at least 20 years old, and it's worked like a champ. Haven't had to replace anything on it, and then keep on thinking about wanting to upgrade to a Lincoln or a Miller or something newer, but this one works fine, so we just keep using it. And here I am butting in trying to see how good he does, because he makes some pretty welds, and I'm just trying to learn. And these new Lincoln, the Viking helmets, I'm not used to it. I'm used to looking through a green lens, and these True Light, or whatever the name of them are, it just looks different. So I was making sure I had the settings right, because it was so bright I didn't want to hurt my eyes. So we flipped it over and finished it off on this side. And then we had another one to build, just like it. So here we are. We're tacking the I-beam in place. Again, using one of those mega squares, the smaller ones, of course. But they work I'm amazed how you'd be surprised how many times you use those things in the shop when you're fabricating something. So Mike welded in one side, and then our biggest problem was, as you can see on the other end of the table, are all the lathe parts. This table's 5 foot by 10 foot, so it's a large table, and we wanted to use the table, but those parts, we didn't have anywhere to put those parts, so we ended up having to move to the floor. So he forgot that he had tacked the bottom of that I-beam onto that upright support, so I had to grind a little notch into that little piece of 3-inch tubing. So this is a good point to say, always wear your PPE. I didn't have gloves on, and this is a result.
Ooh! Ooh! Whoa.
A hot end came off of there. Woo! It landed right on my wrist. You smell the heat? Right there.
Oh, on the wrist.
Yeah, I was holding it. But, you know, no harm, no foul. Little meat smell, that's all. But always wear your PPE. You know, I'm probably one of the world's worst for not doing it. And call it luck, call it what you will. Mike always harps on me, but I was busy doing so many other things that I just went back and forth. So I should have been wearing gloves when I was helping him right there. But anyway, moving on. He got all the uprights stitched in place, and then we had to move all this monstrosity to the floor because it just wouldn't fit on the table. And thank God Mike's knees are better than mine. So he was down there finished welding it up. But you can see the size of it now. It's roughly 6 foot wide, or right at 6 foot wide, and it is 8 foot tall from the bottom of the wheels to the top of the I-beam. And it just misses everything in the shop except for those lights, those shop lights that I have mounted on Lazy Susans. You think we used a tape measure? Oh, you can't see it, the height. You think we used a tape measure? I think that's going to work out great.
Heck yeah.
All right, let me reposition it. And then once we had it up, Mike could finish all the other welds. So he grabbed a ladder and just, knocked out those few welds that were left. Our plans in the future are probably to move that 5x10 table and rotate it about 90 degrees. Still have it underneath where that gym crane is. You can see the gym crane in the background. That thing has come in super handy. All right, so here it is, completed. All welded up, ready to go. Everything worked out exactly like it should. It barely misses the lights like it's supposed to.
Heck yeah.
Got some awesome welds on it.
No.
And
It won't fall apart though.
yeah. And so the next thing is a trip to Harbor Freight to get the I-beam dolly and a chain fall, and we're ready to start putting parts on the lathe.
Outstanding.
So I'll go ahead and I'll post a link to the Gantry crane Fusion 360 drawing in the description below, so anybody who wants to build one can build their own. And everything's just quarter wall, 3-inch square tubing, and the beam is an S
4x7.
Yeah, S4 by 7.7. So it should be good. I think we said 1,500 pounds is what the drawing came about, but I mean it's pretty stout. The limiting factor is the casters. So I think I have roughly just a little over $300 in it. Is about it. So not bad. Not bad, and it's not going anywhere. It's something you did. It's an easily weekend project. So, until next time, see ya.